Hey everyone, Jedi Mike here, and I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new film by A24, Heretic. The story revolves around two young missionaries who become ensnared in a deadly game of cat and mouse when they knock on the door of the diabolical Mr. Reed. Trapped in his home, they must turn to his faith if they want to make it out alive. Stars Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher, and also Chloe East. You also have a quick appearance of Topher Grace, but he's not really in this film that much. This film has a very interesting perspective on religion. As someone who identifies as a Christian, it actually brings a lot of conversation in terms of different belief systems. That I think that's a current topic that's going around in our culture right now about people, whether it might be atheists or whether you're Jewish, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever, having a conversation about religion itself and what it actually represents in our history. And I felt it brought up an interesting conversation even to people's, like, the perspective of male practice of certain religions in our country, whether it might be Christianity, whatever. And Hugh Grant, who plays Mr. Reed, he basically represents the skeptic in this film, but really the intellectual that brings the idea of conversation of, like, hey, either questioning why you believe what you believe and understanding that, hey, maybe what you believe was a lie, or maybe, and he had this quick devotion to trying to find what is the true religion, right? People believe whatever their true religion is, Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, whatever. And there was a scene in this film that they basically exemplified in terms of different iterations of the same material through games and through music. And I felt that was to me was the best scene in this film, because you have was it Sister Barnes and Sister Paxton who are in this house and honestly are trapped in this house, where you're basically left to be questioning, what do they actually believe what they believe, or is it just a actual system that they've been perpetuated by them, by family, by society, whatever, only just for the pure purpose of control, right? And I felt that it was a very, very interesting conversation. Now, when I first watched this film, I thought to me, I felt that the third act of this film definitely fell off in terms of turning into like a stereotypical horror film and stuff. But I think, again, the first two-thirds of this film was very, very powerful in terms of how Hugh Grant, the character, Mr. Reed, invited these women to his home, even though they're missionaries. They knocked on the door, but we all been there, whether we've been opened the door by Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever, people trying to tell us about ministry. I've been there, I've done it, I've been down this road, and I absolutely get it. But what it brought in terms of conversation, again, about certain religions, whether it might be, even people have the perspective of being a cult, perspective of, like, why people are knocking on doors and stuff like that. Are they just doing this to bring more numbers to their congregation? Are they just trying to do this just to bring more people into their little cult, and what their the religion that they believe is only a distorted view of what they actually believe, and which is for the purpose of financial gain, for control, for other things, malicious things as well. And those conversations have been brought up by different religions and brought up in Christianity. And I can tell you, as someone experienced in campus ministries and ministry at church as well, that this film definitely struck a chord with me, because it just kind of puts my perspective in terms of my own experience with religion and my faith walk. And but I appreciate what A24 was trying to do with this film in structuring a very horrific, but in a realistic term, psychological journey of people who are thrown to this situation, having their faith been tested. Now, in the Bible, there have been situations where people's faith has been tested. I will refer to in the Bible, in terms of Christianity, the book of Job as well, right? And certain life experiences and decisions a person goes through, through life circumstances or whatever, and what is the real answer to their faith? Will they actually make the right decision, or would they do something else? Do they actually believe what they believe, or this is what they're just being told? and would they choose to continue on with the lie, continue on with the false narrative or false religion that Mr. Reed brings up in his conversation. And again, but still in a thriller, psychological thriller, but yet horror complex of this film, of having them trapped in this home and they need to get out. But again, I think that this film brought up interesting conversation. However, it falls short in the third act when they turn in terms of what is actually Hugh Grant's real purpose, of having these women here, and also the history that this man has been involved with other individuals too. And definitely is giving the film is focusing on these women being Mormons. It's still, again, it brings up just conversation I think that needs to be had about people's skepticism, but also their reassurance on their faith. There's also a method of apologetics and religion in terms of defending your faith, which I encourage people to do, whatever religion you believe in, that to actually go into apologetics too, because again, it helps you to have more knowledge of what you already believe, but at the same time, when people give you questions, and as they should, that you're able to back it up with good points and are able to articulate your faith and why you believe what you believe, and having a strong stance on it, but the same way you're explaining it so people can understand. But I do actually appreciate what Hugh Grant performance in this, because again, I'm a big fan of Hugh Grant as an actor too, but again, to see him in this type of role was very, very interesting to see. But I had to give a shout out to the two female characters played by Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East. They did a fantastic job in this film, especially with Chloe East is that she definitely has a powerful third moment for her in the third act, along with Sophie as well. But again, I think that she definitely had a very powerful dramatic performance in these situations that were real. And also shout out to the cinematographer in this film as well, where the camera is focusing on certain moments and certain objects, whether it might be a Bible, where it might be a piece of game, like a game board or whatever, or details that might be missing in a particular scene, but gets reset or get revisited later on in the film. They do a really good job of identifying those scenes. But this film is a sentiment for you as a viewer to pay attention to the dialogue. I think the dialogue is the most powerful thing in this film, where you're paying attention. I gotta turn back to that scene, like, wait, what did they say? Let me go revisit this again. And actually, they actually made a point here. Even though I still believe what my religion is, right, it doesn't mean that that those conversations and the points that individual might have brought up may not be true, right? And again, this is, I think, is a conversation. People have different belief systems, whatever. That after my second time of viewing this film, that my perspective has changed in terms of what was actually the point for the two women, the two sisters that are going through this film, and what was the conversation about having faith in your religion and making the choices that you make and stuff, regardless of cynicism and people challenging your points, as they should challenge, so way that you can stand firm on your stance of what you believe in. But again, it just brings up a great conversation, I think, amongst religion, whether Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, whatever. But even if somebody's an atheist, too, I think this is also a good film for you to see as well, because it just brings up that conversation that I think needs to be had, so we can have some type of middle ground of understanding where we stand on this topic of religion, the importance in this country, or also what the ideology and the symbolism that it represents in people's lives, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film by A24. It's in theaters right now, but if you have seen the film Heretic, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on this film Heretic by A24, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.